Through 2 games of the Warriors and Rockets series, we've seen 2 totally different outcomes. Game 1 looked like a masterclass in experience and execution. Game 2, a fast-paced swing powered by athleticism and shot making. Now the series is tied 1-1, and we've learned a lot about both teams. The question isn't just who has the edge, it's whose playstyle will take over. Game 1 was all about control. The Warriors didn't just win, they dictated pretty much every possession. Steph Curry was electric, scoring 31 points while knocking down some amazing shots. But it wasn't just highlights. The Warriors put their players in the best positions to be successful. From the start, you could see how Houston wanted to defend Steph, face guarding him and switching any screen that didn't involve the center. The Warriors tried to use that to their advantage using off-ball actions. Whether through stagger screens, dribble handoffs, or split actions, they worked to get Steph as much separation as they possibly could. And once they did, Steph went to work. Off-ball actions created the space Curry needed to hit shots, and when Houston overplayed the 3, he would slip behind for backdoor layups. Steph missed a few shots early, but they were still great looks that helped them establish a rhythm. They also used Şengün's man as the final screener in many of their off-ball actions. Şengün rarely steps out to help, so Curry found daylight coming off those looks. It was tactical, intentional, and effective. Defensively, Golden State was just as sharp. This team has been the #1 defense in the league since the All-Star break, posting a 109.3 defensive rating during that stretch. That defensive excellence showed up in Game 1. They switched, rotated, contested everything, and even threw in zone looks here and there to keep Houston off balance. Houston's half-court offense is not the greatest. Aside from Şengün, Green, and Van Vliet, the Rockets don't have many quality shot creators, and even those 3 struggle with consistency. When Van Vliet and Green aren't scoring, they struggle to generate consistent half-court offense. That gap was clear in the numbers too. Golden State scored 1.09 points per possession, while Houston managed just 0.89. That's a massive edge in playoff basketball, where possessions slow down and every detail matters. Then came Game 2, and the physicality was turned up a notch. Brandon Podziemski missed most of the game due to food poisoning, and Jimmy Butler went down early with a tailbone injury after a freak collision. That's 2 crucial defenders and secondary playmakers gone, and it showed. Golden State's defensive intensity wasn't the same. Their rotations got a little shaky, and their offensive execution dwindled. Houston capitalized on the opportunity. Jalen Green had his best game of the series so far, pouring in 38 points with 8 3-pointers. Green is a very streaky shooter, and this game, we saw one end of the spectrum where he knocked down a lot of shots. His improvement this season as a shooter, especially off the dribble going to his left, was on full display. Consistency from game to game is the biggest issue for him, but when he gets going, it completely raises Houston's offensive ceiling. When Green scores 30 or more points, the Rockets have a record of 14-1 this season. And while Green lit it up from the perimeter, Alperen Şengün dominated inside. He created mismatches all night, whether it was posting up, operating from the high post, or punishing mismatches. His footwork, patience, and passing continue to be a real problem for Golden State's defense. The Rockets also leaned into their physical identity. They pressured Curry constantly, sticking with him on screens, and forced him to work for every inch. Steph still got his shots, but every look was earned. Houston's defensive effort was relentless, and it wore Golden State down. Houston dominated the offensive glass, pulling down 11 offensive rebounds in Game 2. This is nothing new. They led the league in offensive rebounding all season. Their energy also fuels transition opportunities. Houston likes to force turnovers and score in transition, and they took full advantage of any mistake Golden State made. Those extra possessions from turnovers and offensive rebounds allowed them to control the pace and shift the game in their favor. For Golden State, the ball movement wasn't as crisp, the spacing collapsed, and it became difficult to consistently generate quality offense. Without Butler to create secondary offense, things fell apart. If Jimmy Butler is forced to miss time due to that tailbone injury, it's a massive blow. His defense, his playmaking, his toughness, they're all critical. Without him, the Warriors' margin for error becomes very thin. So what have we learned from the first two games? Golden State thrives when the game slows down. Their system is built around skill, experience, and execution. They know how to create advantages with movement, timing, and decision-making. When the Warriors are healthy, they generate great looks, and their defense can smother poor half-court offensive teams like Houston. But that all depends on Steph, and that's the risk. Golden State's offense is heavily dependent on Curry, and when it gets tougher to get him good looks, the offense becomes stagnant. Without Butler, there's no secondary creator to lean on. The Warriors don't have many other players that can consistently create quality offensive looks. If Butler's injury keeps him out, it could spell real trouble for the Warriors. On the other side, Houston thrives in a fast-paced environment. They rely on youth, athleticism, and effort. They want to turn every possession into a fight. Hit the glass, push the pace, switch everything, and force mistakes. When their shot creators like Jalen Green or Fred VanVleet get hot, and Şengün starts to dissect the defense, they become a serious threat. So now the series is tied. But more importantly, the identity of each team has been established. Golden State has the championship DNA, but they need to be healthy, sharp, and composed. Houston has the energy and athleticism, but they need shot makers to step up consistently. This series won't be decided by star power alone. It's gonna come down to which team can impose their style of play. Can the Warriors turn this into a half-court game of execution, or will Houston keep the tempo up, control the glass, and dominate with pure athleticism?